Now the big question was whether they had found another piece of this structure, and if it related to the nearby gold. They needed to solve this puzzle and see if Terry's instincts were right. This was as critical as it could get. The data they had might back up a positive finding, but they couldn't just rely on gut feelings to provide evidence for their theories. Charles didn't hesitate. As soon as the team agreed, he immediately called Rick and Marty to share the team's unanimous belief. The tension in the room was palpable. Rick and Marty were on the edge of their seats, listening to every detail. They knew this could be the breakthrough they had been waiting for, but they also knew they needed to proceed carefully. The implications of this discovery were huge, and they had to make sure they got it right. Mike's drilling team continued their work, each turn of the drill bringing them closer to uncovering the truth. As they drilled, they carefully collected samples and data, analyzing everything meticulously. Each new piece of information brought them closer to understanding what lay beneath the surface. But this wasn't the worst part. The deeper they went, the more complex the puzzle became. They found more voids, more spaces, that suggested there was something man-made down there. The team was both excited and cautious. They knew they were close to something big, but they also knew they had to be careful not to jump to conclusions. As they pieced together the data, a picture began to emerge. It seemed that the voids and structures they were finding were part of a larger network, possibly an ancient system designed to hide something valuable. The team was buzzing with theories and ideas, each new discovery fueling their excitement. Rick and Marty called in more experts to help them analyze the findings. They brought in archaeologists, historians, and engineers, each adding their expertise to the mix. The project was becoming a massive collaboration, with everyone working towards a common goal, uncovering the secrets of Oak Island. But there was still much work to be done. The team knew they were on the brink of something huge, but they also knew they had to be patient. Every step they took had to be carefully planned and executed. They couldn't afford any mistakes. As the days turned into weeks, the team continued their work, driven by the possibility of a major discovery. They knew they were part of something special, something that could change history. And with each new day, they got closer to uncovering the truth. Not long after they arrived at their destination, brothers Rick and Marty Lagina were bursting with excitement. Rick especially was eager because he was deeply involved in the Money Pit drilling operation. The exact coordinates, DN 11.5, had led them to a spot that seemed rich with potential treasure. For the brothers, this was a moment they had been waiting for, the culmination of years of research and exploration. The thrill they felt was undeniable. DN 11.5 might have seemed like an ordinary place on the surface, but it was situated in the heart of a treasure-rich area. This place was a literal and metaphorical gold mine, with high concentrations of gold, air pockets, and numerous voids in the ground. To keep things simple and organized, they decided to name the spot based on its geographical location. Rick called a meeting to discuss the latest findings and developments. The story of their discovery at Oak Island's Money Pit fascinated everyone involved in the project, sparking intense discussions and speculation. From the moment they began, it was clear that this was no ordinary discovery. When they reached about 90 feet down, Mike Tedford, one of their team members, felt the drill break through a barrier. This moment was significant, and he highlighted it in his report. It seemed like the object they were after was just beyond their reach, adding to the excitement and mystery. The discovery of an ancient path. But this wasn't the most thrilling part. Terry, known for his sharp observational skills, noticed something remarkable. The coordinates DN 11.5, DN 12.5, and DN 13.5 lined up perfectly from east to west. This alignment suggested that they might be part of a structure hidden 94 feet underground. This added another layer of excitement to their findings. The coordinates DN 12.5 and DN 13.5 were crucial in confirming this alignment, leading everyone to wonder if they had uncovered a new section of the structure and if it was related to the nearby gold. The real challenge was piecing together this complex puzzle to confirm Terry's hunch. The data they had collected pointed them in the right direction, supported by tangible evidence. However, they couldn't rely on guesswork alone to prove their theory. They were preparing to present a scientific report that would clarify their findings. The mood was tense yet hopeful as they gathered to review the long-awaited results. But the story didn't end there. After conducting an XRF analysis on DN 11.5, their findings aligned perfectly with what they had anticipated. Emma, a highly skilled archaeometallurgist, concluded after extensive analysis that the structure they uncovered was undeniably a tunnel. This was a significant breakthrough. They conducted further analysis using an XRF spectrometer on a dry wood sample collected from the site, aiming to gain a deeper understanding of their significant discovery. The team felt a mix of excitement and anxiety as they awaited the results of the wood sample analysis. The XRF spectrometer would reveal the composition of the wood, providing clues about its age and origin. This information could help them understand the history of the tunnel and its possible connection to the treasure. But this was just the tip of the iceberg. The team knew that if they were correct about the tunnel, it could lead them to even more significant finds. They discussed their next steps, planning further excavations and more detailed analyses. Each new piece of information brought them closer to solving the mystery of Oak Island. The anticipation was palpable as they waited for the final results. When the analysis came back, it confirmed their suspicions. The wood was ancient, suggesting that the tunnel had been constructed centuries ago. This discovery raised even more questions. Who built the tunnel? What were they trying to hide? And most importantly, how much treasure was still buried beneath the island? The team decided to expand their search, using advanced technology to map out the underground structures. They brought in ground-penetrating radar and other high-tech equipment to get a clearer picture of what lay beneath the surface. Each day brought new challenges and discoveries, fueling their determination to uncover the island's secrets. But the journey was far from over. The more they uncovered, the more complex the mystery became. The team knew they were on the brink of something big, but they also understood that patience and perseverance were key. They continued to work tirelessly, driven by the hope that they would one day solve the mystery of Oak Island and uncover its hidden treasures. What do you think they found? They came across the usual substances you'd expect on Oak Island. Emma identified things like iron, manganese, titanium, calcium, potassium, and aluminum. She carefully checked each one, making sure she didn't miss anything. These findings were all pretty standard, and Emma took her time to analyze them thoroughly. But then, something unexpected happened. Gold. The excitement was off the charts. While examining a piece of wood, they found traces of gold. This discovery led to a quick talk with Emma to see if finding gold was as rare as it seemed. They couldn't believe their eyes, and the atmosphere buzzed with anticipation. In the middle of her presentation, Emma chuckled and confirmed that the gold was indeed a surprising highlight. She explained that finding gold in their samples was like finding a needle in a haystack. As they looked more closely at the sample, they found something amazing. They estimated that the gold made up about 0.04% of the sample's total mass. Can you believe it? This small percentage might not sound like much, but for them it was a huge deal. It was enough to make everyone's hearts race with excitement. But this wasn't the end of the surprises. This discovery shocked the team. Since this sample was just a small part of their findings, they started to think that there might be a lot more gold hidden in their discovery. Rick began to wonder if these strange results could be a clue to finding a long-lost treasure. As they learned more, their excitement grew. They began to imagine the possibilities of what else could be hidden on Oak Island. The adventure became even more thrilling. They realized they had the chance to explore not just the wood, but also the water, for more clues. Each new piece of information fueled their hope and determination. However, the journey was far from over. With each discovery, new questions arose. What else could they find? How much more gold might be hidden? The team was eager to dig deeper, literally and figuratively, to uncover all the secrets that Oak Island held. But the excitement came with challenges too. As they delved further, they had to be cautious and meticulous in their investigation. Every sample, every trace, had to be carefully examined and documented. They couldn't afford to miss any potential clues. The stakes were high and the pressure was on. Despite the challenges, their spirits were high. The idea of uncovering a treasure that had been hidden for so long kept them motivated.